tell what cows are left on the place ain't doing too good. And another thing with this drought like it is, that watering hole's about a third or a quarter of the size it should be, and it's going to steadily keep going down. I mean, he's going to have to move them for no other reason but lack of water if we don't get a rain. This is where a man drives up and goes, I ain't got nowhere to bale hay this year because it's grasshoppered and droughted out. I ain't got no grass. It's July and my cattle are starving. And a man has put years and worked and put just so much of his life into building a herd. It breaks his heart, and he can't stand to see them without and to go hungry. He'd rather get rid of them and give somebody else the chance to have them than for him to just hold on to them and watch them fall apart. I tell you, this July, this whole spring's been tough. We short of rain. I bet we've had 10 days, 100-degree heat, and now you got grasshoppers. Man, they're like a plague, like an Old Testament plague. I don't know how bad the locusts were, but I've been having nightmares. My dog's so sick of grasshoppers. Look at her. They have so become a nuisance to our life. She just will chase them and catch them. Look at her. Get that grasshopper, girl. Kill him, yes, ma'am. Kill that sucker. We'll do whatever it takes to get rid of a bunch of grasshoppers around here. But the thing about grasshoppers is they flat destroy. Look, I mean, we're in drought conditions, and our grass is so short, and then you have just a flock of grasshoppers come in, and they eat what's there to the ground. And I'm telling you, if you don't do something with them, if you don't battle them, they flat consume your place, and they'll wipe it out. They'll kill it all. Most all of Texas is in drought conditions, like a 50-year drought. I mean, we're in bad shape. It's just tough times. You fight the heat, and you fight the praying for rain, and you trust in the Lord, and God, I know you're going to send rain. It rains every year. And the old cowboys will tell you, Don, he'll tell you, it always has. I said, Don, you think we're going to be all right? He'll say, it always has rained, we're going to be fine. And, you still got that hope. When all you're doing is depending upon God and depending on God. People with yards and all they maintain is that gum yard that ain't 20 foot big and got an automatic sprinkler that kicks on and off. They don't realize, they may not recognize how much some of us in America still depend upon God's natural sources of water. We have to have God rain. We have to be blessed by the living water, because without it, we don't have no grass, and this completely changes our livelihood and how we live, and it affects us in every area of our life. And you gotta have God's provision. And so far this year, I think over the past few years, we're probably at least 40 to 50 inches shy of rain in East Texas. West Texas is in drought conditions, then you have the fires that start up. And this year, the biggest fire in East Texas burned up, we called it the Bearing Fire. And all that's because of the conditions, the conditions of our land, that without the rain that we need. So we're already in the cowboy world, we're already stressed and worn over the conditions that we have no control over. We have no control over the rain and when it rains, and we pray and have faith that God will provide, but then, man, you get hit with grasshoppers, and in a week, your place goes from having just a little bit of grass to just desolate dirt, and it breaks your spirit. There's a lot of people that are selling out, just come get all I got. Yesterday, we had 3 different pastures. They sold everything. If you'll look at this field, the only thing left standing is weeds. Sin is like them dang grasshoppers. They show up and they devour whatever is good, whatever is life. They will devour it, but it'll leave the weeds. And then all you got is a field full of weeds and dead-gum grasshoppers that you can't do nothing with. Let's find ourselves in some spots, and you can see in fields right now. You can drive down the road and you can see spots where the grasshoppers are, be a big old spot, and they'll just keep on moving until they've devoured the whole field, unless you start battling them. And you got to get some spray, and you got to get in there and fight and poison and kill them someones, and take dominion over that land, and say, I ain't gonna give up. I'm not gonna just surrender and let them, look at that, just let them take over and eat my place. I mean, I ain't giving my place to them, you know. So you kind of do the same thing with sin in your life. At some point in time, you got to say, I'm not giving my life to Satan anymore. He ain't gonna have that area. He can't have that field. So whenever he comes up, you poison him. And I've learned the only way I poison him is by the Word of God. I get the Word of God in me. I read whenever my mind has bad thoughts, whenever I have them anger issues, or I want to blow up and do something ignorant, I go to the Word of God, and I can't quote scriptures, but I know what He says, and He says, He shall meet all my needs, and He says, this too shall pass, and He says that if my people will humble themselves and repent, come to me, I shall restore their lands. And I'm telling you, you need to look at our country. We need to do some repenting. You know, I'm going to show you some fields in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to probably be doing, I did messages on spots for the last month, and there's some fields where there's some good spots. There's some good fields with a bad spot. Guys, while you watch these next few weeks, just listen to the words and allow God to work in your heart, and you get in your word. You get in the Bible and read the Bible, and you understand what He says, and learn that, man, life is like a field. It ain't just one or two spots. You got to learn to look to the whole field, not focus on a good spot or a bad spot. People what focus on nothing but the bad spots, they don't ever even see the good spots. And people what live for only good spots, they jump from one to the next, jump from one to the next. They never do ever enjoy the entire field of life, which is what He gives us to do. He said, I have give you life and life abundantly. He didn't say you weren't going to have some issues, weren't going to have some struggles, and weren't going to be some years where there's 10 or 12 days of 100-degree heat and no rain. That's just life right now. But I know all in all, I have a blessed field, and this is all past, and boy, those what stick in it will be here. It's just a test. It's just a momentary affliction. It's not no big deal. It's always rain. It's always rain. We're going to spray some grasshoppers and kill them some ones and try to take dominion back over this field right here. Smooth spots. You know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of spots along the way that we got to go through. All this message came from Balen Hay the other day. Our goal and purpose here at Cowboy Ministries is to take our normal lives of a cowboy, of a dad, just a good old simple country boy that God has reached into my life and into many lives. And our goal is to take that daily life and that daily routine and to present it to y'all in a living, live atmosphere. Things that are really happening, whether it's cowboying or riding a tractor, putting out hay, or dealing with the kids, or teaching the kids something about cowboying or living a country life. And, you know, Jesus was the best teacher that's ever walked on this earth, and He taught with whatever was right there. He taught with what He had. If it was just anything that passed by, He said, look, let me teach you this, let me tell you this story. And He taught them parables, and that's what I try to do. That's where I mean, in my normal life, I see stories and I see God's hand at work. And that's what I preach, that's what I teach, is where I see God at work and what I see Him doing in normal, ordinary life. Do you let it grow longer, or are you still cutting it like, 28 days where it's at its most protein? And I think that's why people get it. And there's so many like that write good music or poetry, or that God's given them the ability to just see His Word in their life. And that's what we want to do at Cowboy Way. It's all about spots in life. And this life is full of spots. There's good spots and bad spots, and dry spots and wet spots, and rough spots and smooth spots. You know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of spots along the way that we got to go through. All this message came from Balen Hay the other day, and production team put out this bulletin and got these spots on the field, and ain't nobody seen a field like that in about 2 years now in East Texas. I was rolling hay and I had Ty in the tractor with me, and Ty has 2 jobs during hay season. The first one he loves to do. He rides the 4-wheeler on the first cutting hay, and he picks every stick up in the field that's fell off of trees, and he carries them on the 4-wheeler back to the tree and leans them up, you know what I'm saying, where they're out of the field, where we're not raking up and baling limbs. And he does a pretty good job at that. He'll get a little off track every now and then. You'll see him just through some windrows of hay, but he basically don't mess up much on that. And then the other job he has to do sometimes is just riding the tractor. Because it's my job to make sure he don't get himself in a jam. When it's 102 outside, he can ride the 4-wheeler, he can fish, he can run around, but every now and then he needs to cool off a little bit. And the other day we was rolling hay and it was getting late in the evening. I was in the last field that we was trying to roll, and I said, his 4-wheeler broke down on him the other side of by the pond on the other side of the place over there. He comes walking all the way across there, and I kicked the door open on that tractor, and I said, you need to get in here and ride with me. And that little fella was red-faced. He was hot. I said, you just need to ride with me a little bit. And he said, man, my 4-wheeler's messed up. And I said, I ain't got time to worry about your 4-wheeler. We'll fix it later. Just ride with me for a little bit and cool off. So we're riding and baling hay, and we're in a pretty good field. I'm very pleased with the cutting we're getting compared to what everybody else has got. In fact, I'm kind of bragging about it. I've sent pictures and text messages, and I've really been a little rude. We're cutting the field. Our first cutting made 2 rows an acre. Wow. Yeah. Everybody else is getting, I have a favor. I don't know. Perfect timing, really. And God blessed us with some rain, that first rain right after we fertilized. But we were really blessed. We was really proud. But we was rolling this last field of the day, and we're kicking out about 3 rows per round, and I come around, there's a little spot right by the pond that had absolutely no grass. It was just a brown spot. But it was cut, and it was windrowed, and I rolled it. You know what I'm saying? You don't just, and Ty goes, well, that spot didn't do no good. I said, well, that ain't no big, I didn't say nothing to him. We made another round, kicked out 3 more rows, and come back by, and he said, boy, this spot right here just didn't make nothing. I said, that's all right, it's okay. We keep on going. Come back around, he said, I don't even know why did we bother to cut and roll? This ain't nothing. Why do we even fool with this spot? By now, he's kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. We've been cooped up in the tractor long enough that he's irritating me, and he won't, that boy can talk. I'm just saying. And he has a tendency to focus on one thing, and he will not get off of it. I'm finna get him up off his spot, though. I said, dadgum, boy, we're rolling up 2 rows to the acre. The rest of this field has got windrows that ain't nobody in East Texas seeing, and all you want to talk about is this one spot. My goodness, hush about the spot. It's just a spot. The field is a good field. But you won't even talk about the field. All you won't talk about is this spot. And I'm talking to him about like that. We make about a half round. He says, golly, Daddy, I was just saying what I thought. So I got that really got on me. And all the next 2 or 3 days, I thought, man, ain't that what we do? Hey, won't we just focus on a spot? And we have that spot mentality. You know what I'm saying? I realized sitting in the cab of that tractor that Tybo is a spot hand. When I say hand, that's a worker. That's a man. He's a spot hand, and I'm a field hand. I work on the field. He works on a spot. He's only 11. He don't need much more than a spot. But I'm more mature. I'm grown. You know what I'm saying? My intentions need to be on the entire field, not just a spot. So what I'm probably going to do next time we go to cutting hay, I'm going to tell Ty, now I'm going to give you this rake, and you rake that spot. You wear that spot out while I tend to the field. But it got me to thinking, in life is full of spots. And how many of us focus on the spots? They'll knock a hole in the fence. Look at them fighting. Dale's trying to get him off of them. Right now, we left my place and we're 2 miles from where we were just shooting at. From what you just seen where Ronnie caught and killed a grasshopper, the desolate, dried up, no grass having pasture, we're 2 miles from there. Now we're at our hay meadow that we take care of. We're growing hay, and of course it's still the same conditions, same rain, same issues. This is where we've launched our battle, and this is where we fight to keep dominion and control of our property. We battle the grasshoppers. We've put fertilizer on this place. We've done everything we could do to make this place as much as it can. I want you to see the difference. And when you let just things happen and let whatever goes, and whenever you engage in the battle, I want you to look at this field and watch the difference. This green grass is about boot top high. Not a grasshopper one. And the only reason is if you'll look, you can see them tracks right there under. This place was sprayed yesterday for the second time in the last 3 weeks for fighting them. If you don't maintain the battle, if you don't have a daily walk with Christ and engage, and if you don't attack the areas of your life that are devouring the spirit, they will consume you and they will devour your property. They will just kill all the life that you have. This field here, it's not as good as it should be because we haven't had much rain. The thing is, this pasture, this hay meadow's in good shape and it looks good and that grass is green and growing, but it all starts with a little bitty spot. And when you start with this spot, you drive through your field and you're vigilantly looking and watching over and you're shepherding, you're protecting it. You know what I'm saying? You put a lot into this and you got money, a bunch of money tied up to produce grass for that you can have feed for your cattle in the winter. But you better pay attention to the beginnings of the spots. And right here you can tell we're getting a spot. There's a shift in the grass and you got a little bit yellower looking grass and it's thinner looking. You can't even see the dirt right over there, but right here you can see the dirt and the brown dirt. All right, when you see, you got to attack. They're moving in. This is our property line. This is a boundary. This is where our pasture stops and our neighbor begins right there. So we can't worry about what he is or ain't doing. We can't worry about it if he's spraying and protecting. We got to maintain, we've got to get a crop. We got to get some hay. So this is like, I mean, it's like drawing a line in the sand. We noticed about a week ago, this place we got these spots and there's 2 or 3 of them, and you can see, if you look right down that fence row, right there in that low swag, there's another spot where it's pretty brown looking, and them grasshoppers was just moving this away, and they like it fresh green grass. We rolled this hay up about 3 weeks ago, so it was short, fresh. We put fertilizer on it and was blessed with about a ½ inch of rain the next couple of days. So I mean, we had some good green grass growing and young tender grass. Them grasshoppers was moving this away. So you got to launch the fight and you got to protect your boundaries. You know, you got to get in there and kill them. You can't let them just take over. You see where, if you can see where Tudor's sitting on that gator, what that is, that's a spot. And Tudor is sitting in the right, my nephew's sitting in the right spot, because them bulls are gonna come off that. If you'll look, see them black bulls coming up, they're gonna naturally wanna go right back across that pond dam because they don't want to come to these pens. But see him pull up, he's pulling himself in a spot to where he'll turn and make them bulls come on up this way. And I guarantee you, my brother told him, get on that gator and run over yonder and get in that spot so that them bulls can't turn back across that pond dam. So he's filling the spot, blocking that hole where them bulls will have to come on up this way. And if I was gambling, I'd bet money as soon as they get past that pond dam, unless they got a hole, unless they got that hole fixed right here to our left, Tudor's gonna have to fly and come running around and fill this hole. And Dale'll be pushing, he'll push them all up by himself. But if it wasn't for Tudor in his spot, he'd have lost the whole deal right there. Every one of them would have went the other way. But since Tudor was in the right spot, sitting there, he's pushing that whole bunch. He's got them on, this is a little set of cows. He's pinning cows and all to get the bulls off of them. He's really kind of late. He usually look at him fighting. See them bulls fighting through the fence? They'll create a spot, I guarantee you. They'll knock a hole in the fence. Look at them fighting. Dale's trying to get him off of them. Them son guns will tear a fence up. If Dale could get in there between them, he just broke a wire. All right, so you got the black bull off that fence. Now Dale needs to stay in between them or that black bull will go right back. So Dale's gonna have to ride right in between them and keep that black bull to this side. Hey Dale, is that fence hot? Hotter than a firecracker. Them suckers go to fighting. That Hereford bull must not have no cows at all.
Yeah, he does.
He's got his own cows? He just couldn't help himself.
He just loves these.
He just loves whatever's across the fence?
Most all of his is straight black.
I think, truthfully, just sometimes that's just that male hormones kicking in.
Oh, you ought to see the holes they got dug out there.
Fighting this bull holes.
This thing.
Right there along the fence?
One on this side, one on this side. I thought when I hit that fence, he'd go, whoa!
It just knocked the fire out of him.
Of course, once one hits it, if he stays on it, another one hit it and it won't get bit.
Right, because it's going through that. Yeah.
That's such a pain.
You got to pull him too, or you just
get him later.
Just getting that one?
I'm gonna get them all, but I'll get him later.
And normally, I mean, they was fighting like that mainly because you was pushing these cattle up that fence.
Know, just like here in a minute when I carry all of them, I got 4 of them. When I carry all 4 of them up yonder, this season late and put them behind the main barn, they'll be partners.
They'll be buddies again.
But you put them in here,
close enough to them women,
they'll tear crap up.
Ain't that something?
They tore these gates up. I've redone and rebuilt. Most times you can put a little heat on them, they'll go on.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's just a matter of putting enough heat on them.
And it's hard to get enough heat on them sometimes to get them to stop. Right.
This here, Jay's 2 traps I sprayed. That one and that one for grasshoppers.
Yeah.
And it looked like this here 2 weeks ago.
Did it?
It was nothing.
Done ate down.
The grasshoppers done killed it.
Yeah. We went by the Bajo. That sucker looks rank, boy.
Sad?
Golly.
You ever imagine something look like that?
No, not that bad. I mean, that's bad. But you know what I was telling Joe? When you overgraze and you don't put nothing back, when conditions are favorable, you can survive. If conditions shift to unfavorable, it'll create a complete collapse. I mean, there's death. There ain't nothing there.
There's another place on up there, and that's what happened to him. On past the Bajo, go across the river bridge, and on top of the hill on the left and the right.
Yeah.
What happened to him, he had ryegrass. Well, he run out of hay, and man, I know.
Oh, yeah.
So he, instead of trying to cut and bale his
ryegrass,
you got to get it off.
Right. And you just got it, now he's got just dead stuff standing up.
And ryegrass is gone because the guy's eaten it up.
Yeah.
And his dirt's out there like that. And he asked me, he said, Dale, what happened? I said, well, you left that on so long, that's a stressful state. Your summer grass, your coastal.
Didn't get his due short.
Never did do nothing, so it's gone.
Yeah.
Been that way 3 years now.
Really? So
what do I do? I said, plow it up and replant it.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, he needs to start over, don't he?
I mean, you can't do it. You just can't. See that right there? All the way across this trap, Jay?
Yeah.
That next fence?
Yeah.
See how green it is?
Yeah.
All right, a week ago, Leanne had give up hope.
Had you?
Well, there's nothing here and what's here is dead. I said, Leanne, 2 weeks ago.
So she was done.
I said, Leanne, we got to spray. I know it's expensive, but we got to spray. Well, they'll just come back. Well, she had heard, and which is true, talk to Galen White.
Every 10 to 14 days.
I said, but, you know, they're here. So if they come back, that means a new crop.
Right.
So we're going to have double the crop. Let's try.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think I hit them just right because I had some that big.
Yeah.
I had some that big.
Oh, yeah.
And that was 2 weeks ago, and I'm telling you, it looked like
nothing.
Crap.
You know, that's the people that are selling out right now. At the sale barn, we had over 1,300 head yesterday. I bet we sold total of 10,000 head this last week. And the people that are just done selling out had 98 head off of one place. He didn't know what cow went with what calf, and he didn't care. He said, I'm selling them. I'm done. Some pretty decent black cows, you know. I mean, I come to find out they were 2 generations in building. And they got a big place over there, a lot of cattle, but grasshoppers have wiped them out, and the drought,
sold out,
and they're just done. He said, I'm done. He said, we'll start back next year or something. But it's the deadgum lineage. It's the years of building that herd and the years of, you know what I'm saying? You don't buy that in a barn. You do that through years of, and I think he got to where Miss Leanne was. He called me and said, I'm gonna sell 40 of my bigger calves and get them off these cows. And he got out there and started pinning and got to looking, and he lost his hope and said, take them off. Right. He had 15 or 20 baby calves that just.
It's hard.
Disheartening.
Where people get in the jam in the cow business is it's not their way of life.
Right.
You know, if I was to give up and sell out, and me decide to go, then I'm selling out my way of life.
Right. Right.
You don't get good horses like that and good boys like that by selling out your way of life.
Right. But everybody's way of life ain't this.
I know that, but I mean.
But those that ain't, what happens is those that ain't, this ain't their way of life. They're the ones that abandon and lose all hope during these days.
Way of life.
Sure.
I always wonder if sometimes we don't do that. Whether it be for money, and I don't mean just cowboying, but you take somebody that's got a good job that works 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and he's home and he's with his family, and he raises his boys to play t-ball, and he raises his girls to play soccer, but then he gets this opportunity to make $150,000 a year, but he's gonna have to give something.
He gives up his way of life.
Give your way of life for money. I think that's a lot of this country, man.
No, you bet. And then you
back to enjoying a good horse and a pretty woman thinks it's big money.
And tending to your side of the fence.
Yeah.
You are exactly right.
Thank you for watching today's message. And if you need a prayer, call 903-309-8629 and somebody will be there to pray with you. We also encourage you to find a Cowboy church near you, or if you're in our neck of the woods, come join us at Bar None Cowboy Church. We're about halfway between Henderson and Tatum on Highway 43. If you need a mount, go to our website at cowboywayministries.org. There, you can also get today's complete message. Thank you for watching, and have a blessed day.